Hey, Coach, on Saturday, you mentioned this team not really resembling what you've built the past 4 years so far. Uh, how important does that make your returners in a time like this, or especially a guy like Devo who's been around for most of it when it comes to setting the standard you're looking for?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the DNA of the program has been competitiveness, has been toughness, has been grit, or whatever you guys have written in the past, or whatever opposing coaches have said about our team. And look, the game against Auburn. Number one, you've got to give credit to Bruce Pearl. You got to give credit to his team. Um, they came in here, they played a great game. Um, you know, and we got to get better from it. That's what you do. You take accountability from staff to players to, um, you know, and then certainly guys that have been here. Devo, Kai, Cade. Anybody that's been here and been part of the program. You continue to talk about it. I mean, we went back to the COVID year today. And we took the 5-minute mark, the 10-minute mark, the 15-minute mark, halftime, and then went the same way in the second half. And we showed the score. Auburn was really playing well, and they were up 20 and in the first half, and we fought, we scrapped, and we won the game by 2. And so it was a tale of 2 different games, and we just talked about when we get down. You never know what can happen in a game. And we had a great practice this morning, super physical. I moved players to the scout team today. So we had 5 of our players on the scout team. That's not been the case in the 4 years that I've been here. We've always used, managers or graduate assistants. But today they had to guard 5 scholarship players. And that's a different look. We'll see what happens. I mean, we had another really good practice. I try to, shoot straight with you guys on everything and try to not have any gray area, and to, let you know exactly how I feel, whether it's agreed upon or not. But this team continues to practice really well. Today was a great practice, and the game on Saturday was a really poor performance. I mean, and but we had a good practice today, and I, if it was bad, I would be the first to tell you guys that it was bad. Matter of fact, sometimes I wish I could get on here and tell you we did have some bad practices, because really practice doesn't matter. I mean, what matters is the game. That's what coaching staffs are paid for. That's what players want to do, is they want to play in a game, and we've got to carry over from the practice floor to a game. It's a
And
long answer, Curtis.
that's all right. I love it. Thank you. I might have missed one, but I think you, Oklahoma, and VCU might be the only teams at this point who haven't played a true road game yet. I guess given some of the things you're working through, do you feel like maybe this team needs to experience that hostile environment where, everyone's kind of against them to get them to rally together?
Why, if we played Bud Walton, we might have the same. I mean, right now the way we played, I mean, I don't know how many people have. I mean, we got to put together. I don't think any struggling team coming off a game like that wants to go on a 2-game road trip in SEC play. But that's what the schedule says. That's what we're going to go do. Mike White's done a great job. I think they're 10-0 at home. I think they're 20-5 since he got to Georgia at home. It's a confident team. It's a team coming off a huge win, because anytime you win on the road is a huge win. But that's what the schedule says. That's what you go do. I don't think this team needs to go to Athens and have a meal the night before the game, and all of a sudden that's going to miraculously make us better because we have a good meal and people put their phones down and converse. I'm not a believer that's going to make us all of a sudden play better basketball because we ate together and we're in a hotel and we're bonding. I think, I'm not going to subscribe to that pattern.
Hutch, You kind of touched on it there, Coach, but Georgia, I think, has won 9 straight games. They were picked near the bottom of the league, but they seem to be outperforming that so far. Just what have they been doing well that have made them so good so far?
I think first of all, the preseason stuff, it should go away. It's meaningless because with the transfer, it's meaningless in everything. It's meaningless in football. It's meaningless in the two sports that that I recognize all the players and stuff. It's just I don't know how you know who anybody is going to be good. So Mike White is a great coach. He's been doing it a long time. His teams do a great job executing on both sides of the ball. And just like any program, just like any coach, like you're going to have up and down years right now. And I told our team, this is a much different team than we played last year. They have good length. They went out and added some guys that are really good pieces. It's a team that looks connected. It's a big time challenge. Look at their record this year and look at what they're doing in their own building. Hats off and credit to him. I mean, they're having a good year right now, and I would expect them to continue to play good based on what they've done in a sample size. It's now one game into league.
And Abdur Rahim and Thomason, I think they're their two leading scorers. They both seem to have really good percentages shooting the three. Just kind of what challenges do they present?
Yeah, I mean, Abdur Rahim is a guy that we tried to recruit as well when he left Virginia. I coached his father with the Kings. I was an assistant coach with the Hawks when Sharif played there. Really familiar with them as a family. He can shoot the ball. He does a good job of drawing fouls off 3-point shots. He does what you would want a player to do. He's improved, each and every year. He's got great length at 6'8". And his percentages don't lie. When we talk today about our opposition coming up, I said, like, look at these numbers, you guys. Like, this is why we want players to be in the gym on their off time. This is why when you get shooting reps, like, look at the numbers of Noah Thomason and look at the numbers of number one, Abdul Rahim. And these guys are really, really good players. Melendez, number 15, plays really hard. He's a great cutter. He can make a three. He's got great experience having played at Illinois. And the big guy inside, 54, is a guy that, got experience playing at South Florida. He can rebound the ball. He does a good job stealing dribble drives for perimeter players, it's a unique thing to have a 5-man seal to open up dribble drive angles for guys like Thomason. Ford Demre has done a great job as a point guard, as a freshman, and can score it, shoot it. And Hill last year he was a really good player last year. Hill, number 11, he can get downhill. He made 3 threes at Missouri. So it's a good team. And De La Roche comes off. He's a guy that played at VCU and rebounds and plays hard. So it's a talented team. You go all the way 9 or 10 deep. Kane is a guy that can shoot it and having a really good year as a freshman that can shoot with great range. So, again, Mike White's done a great job with his roster. It seems like a connected team and a team that'll pose challenges on both sides of the ball.
Bob.
Hey, Eric, you've been doing this a long time, had a lot of success, and I think you've said you never had a team that practiced so well but then didn't play like that. Is there anything I'm sure you're trying all kinds of stuff or have, but what do you think? Is there some you haven't tried to get the practices to translate more to the games, or the guys just got to understand the intensity level picks up?
Well, that's why, Bob, I took 5 scholarship players and we formed a scout team to go live. I haven't done that in 4 years. I haven't done that in the 4 years at Nevada either. So that's different. The day before our game against Auburn, we completely changed the timing of how we did our day before game. We changed every part of the routine. We're not doing normal shell defense. We incorporated 5 parts of what our opponents do and created a new shell defense. So look, our staff was in here all day yesterday, starting at about 6:30 in the morning, many of us, on a Sunday, on an off day. And we're going to keep going. Some of the text messages have been really cool from former assistant coaches on times we've struggled, and you know, David Patrick sent a long text, and Gus Arginal's been sending text messages, and we're not going to just do the same thing over and over, and we're not going to stop tinkering and trying to get better.
And it sounds like the guys, based on what you're saying about practice, the guys had a good attitude. Which you can be like that, you know, you can probably go one of two ways. You can either tank, or you can get motivated and get pissed off and try to get better. It sounds like they're responding the right way.
Yeah, there's been no question, Bob. Again, if it wasn't the right way today, I would tell you that, you know, that the response was not good. But I mean, I think they understand. I hope they understand, you know, the importance of this 2-game road trip. We know it's going to be hard to win on the road. We know that we're going to have to play our A game on both sides of the ball. This league is too good to not. But this program in the past has done a good job of at some point figuring out things and figuring out the intensity we need to play with. And I mean, there's a lot of former players that have been texted in the last 24 to 48 hours that have said, "Hey, coach, been there, figure it out," you know? And so, you know, that's what we're trying to do.
Well, what does that mean to you, that former players and guys who coach with you that are head coaches now, or maybe they're assistants somewhere else, whatever? What does that mean to you that they're reaching out to you? I mean, it's one thing people reach out to you when things are going great. When things suck, sometimes people don't reach out. What's that mean to you?
Well, the former players means a lot, you know. It also, you know, and I talked to the team about it. Like, you know, we got guys all over the world watching us. We got guys playing NBA games and then texting after a game, and people are following the scores overseas. Guys are in the G League and they're texting. I mean, I didn't just get one or two text messages. I mean, there are a lot of people. There's a lot of former players that I never coached that played here that are texting, you know, positive things, and you know, I mean, we got to go play better basketball. But I did talk about some of those things about, you know, you guys might be somebody in 5 years texting about, you know, how our team's doing. And so it means a lot to me, and I hope it means at least a little something, you know, to the guys on the roster, to know that some of their former teammates, you know, built something and take pride in what they built.
You mentioned 54, Russell. I'm not even trying to say his last name to Shaw or something, but you know, the big guy, 7-footer. He doesn't have eye-popping stats, but he had a big game at Missouri, and you guys obviously had struggled in the paint against Auburn. Kind of, how do you see that matchup? How do you feel like your big guys will bounce back and maybe trying to handle the Georgia's big guy?
I mean, I think personal pride on who you're guarding individually, and then personal pride from a team aspect. I mean, you know, paint points, as I mentioned, Bob, after the last game. I know I said a lot of stuff, but after the last game, I did talk about, you know, you got to play post defense better individually. There's got to be better post digs by the perimeter players. On dribble drives, sometimes a big man can step up. Somebody's got to be on the weak side smash to take away the dunker spot. Yeah, I mean, Georgia's got 3 guys up front, to be honest with you, that, I mean, it's not just one guy. Moncrief gets off the floor. I brought up 23, you know, from VCU, who plays really, really hard and is a lefty. And then you brought up 54, so it's a lot of things. But our perimeter's got to guard too, because Abdul Rahim, who basically plays a 3-4, can really score. And then their backcourt play is really good as well.
And then you said something after the game the other day that you guys don't really have an identity on either side of the ball, or at least not that the players were playing to. What would you like the identity to be on both sides of the ball? And do you feel like you guys can establish that?
I mean, I think, Bob, if you look at the 4 years of what our identity has been, is, as I mentioned earlier, a tough team, a team that never stops playing, a team that plays for 40 minutes. You know, everybody in college basketball has one stinker. You know what I mean? I mean, it happens. Everybody has one. And some of our teams that have made Elite Eights and Sweet 16s have had multiple stinkers and have figured it out. Hopefully that game is not a pattern. Hopefully we played a ranked team, that we played pretty decent the first half. I probably subbed too early. You know, when I go back and look at it, that thing was at 12. That's still striking distance. I let that thing play out for 30 minutes and we hadn't, dented into that, double-digit lead. And so I wanted to see if somebody else could come in and energize us. And as we went to the bench, Auburn's lead continued to grow. So moving forward, maybe a shorter rotation would be something that possibly could happen. But if guys aren't playing good, then you certainly got to go to your bench.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, everyone.